We had employees that were crying about, oh my God, this is the essence of who we are. Now I can connect why I am here with what we're going to be doing and where we're going. It is so, when it's done authentically. I've done 30 pieces of research over the years to show that this work is strategic. Not all their brands, they had like 400 brands, but the 30-ish brands that found their purpose, they grew 69% faster than the standard brands at Unilever and 75% of the profit. I want everyone who's listening that's either an employee or an employer that you can do work that truly involves your head, your hand, and your heart. Finding a purpose is collaborative, and living it authentically is absolutely critical because it's not just a tagline. Purpose is very powerful, but you got to live it and breathe it. So it's the C-suite. I've never, unfortunately, when someone in the middle of a company comes to us and says, we want to find our purpose, I go, I've never seen it work from the middle out. I did the first piece of research in 1993, and it was 2,000 in-home interviews with the Roper Starch, organization, asking people what they thought about business supporting a cause. But I also had this intuition about companies could do something different. Companies could stand for something different. And again, for 10 to 20 years, people thought I was nuts. The planet is also a stakeholder. It's not just employees. It's not just communities. It's not just supply chain. It's the planet. You got to have the we there. And the companies that are the most successful, again, go back to Mars. The world we want tomorrow is how we do business today. What a profound statement. I love huge ideas that, and truly, they come from the company's purpose, but also to help their employees, their customers understand that they really stand for something very, very big. I believe that this is the way of business going forward. The most successful businesses will understand their purpose, will be human, because they're not going to just be run by AI, even though AI is kind of fun.
This is the Business Philosopher Within You podcast. I'm your host, Bhavesh Naik. An idea we like to explore on this podcast is when we engage the humanness of the people in and around our organizations, we can build high-performing organizations that stand the test of time. An important tool that's often misunderstood, underutilized, and relegated to the About page of our websites is the idea of purpose. To shed some light on how purpose can take a business organization from a transactional existence to a transformative force, I've invited a very special guest to join us. Carol Cohn is the CEO of Carol Cohn on Purpose, a 21st century consultancy whose mission is to move social purpose to the center of business and brand strategy. For over 30 years, Carol has embraced a commitment to building lasting partnerships between companies, brands, and social issues for deep business and societal impact. Carol has executed over 250 social purpose programs by collaborating with brands such as Aflac, L'Oreal, LG, and Microsoft. She has led more than 30 research studies, including Employee Purpose IQ. She is the host of Purpose 360 podcast with 200 episodes. Carol has been named the Purpose Queen by the BBC, the OG of Purpose by Sustainable Brands, and the Purpose Badass by her junior colleagues. I am pleased to have you on this podcast, Carol.
Well, thank you for that very wonderful and kind introduction. I always love to, most people lean into Purpose Badass because they think that's got a little bit of energy into it, which I love. Of course, when I was on the BBC, when I was at Cannes, it was very nice to be called the Purpose Queen because I adored the Queen. So that was lovely. Thank
That's
you.
Awesome.
It's lovely to be here.
Absolutely. I also like the OG part. And for our listeners who are not familiar with the term OG, I had to look this up. OG is original gangster.
Yes.
So yeah. The OG of purpose, right? So it's all great terms. And my God, you've been doing this for quite a bit. And you really have taken this purpose, the idea of purpose, to a whole different level. And I really admire what you've done, all the work that you've done. So Carol, something that we like to kind of get into on this podcast is, I believe that some of the most profound questions are actually some of the most simple questions, right? And purpose. So what is your definition of purpose?
Well, the simple definition is an organization or a brand's why. Why do you exist?
Right.
What do you stand for? We always like to say it's the why beyond making a profit, and that it's grounded in humanity. So, I always say that employees don't get up in the morning really to say, I want to make money for the guy or the gal. They
Yeah.
want to get up to do something that is truly, ideally profound, and it touches both their intellect, their hands, and their heart.
I love that. The intellect, the hands, and the heart, right? Those three. So that seems to me like it loose, sort of like a comparison is the head, the heart,
Res-
and the mind. It's the head, the heart. No, the head, the heart, and the behaviors.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And you there's so many wonderful purpose statements, and we work with companies large and small,
Yeah.
helping them to. One of my clients once said, "This is a journey to the center of our soul,"
Yes.
which is why it is the philosophy of the company, and the companies that truly withstand the test of time, like Tata, which is one of the most profound Indian companies, but they're global. They could be the oldest purpose-driven company in the world. And 66% of their profits goes to the Tata trusts, and that they are given to humanity and community and such. I love that there's all sorts of great purpose statements. Mars, that's a fifth-generation family, privately held. We love their big in pet food, and they own pet clinics and things like that, but also a lot of candy. And they say they finally decided to come together to decide why do we exist? And this was so great. They said the world we want tomorrow is how we do business today.
That's quite profound. Yeah.
So profound. Or Airbnb, which is belong. Or
Yeah.
Patagonia, which is we exist to save our home planet Earth.
Yeah.
So purpose, when you truly go to the heart of your soul,
Yeah.
and we've worked with companies that have been 50 or 100,000 employees around the globe. We've worked with a company that was in one location with 400 employees. But when you engage and you ask, we have this wonderful process, and we co-create. And so when you ask employees,
Right.
well, why do you get up? And what does this company mean to you? And they say, I've never been asked this before. And it's all levels.
Right.
It's like C-suite down to the factory floor. And when you engage your employees, which are the number one stakeholder, absolutely. I've said this for 30 years, and finally the world's catching up.
Yeah.
You find out why you get up in the morning and how you can be excited and how you can recruit friends to come work with you. So purpose to me, and I make a joke that I was 6 feet tall, probably like you, and now I'm only 5 feet tall. I had to spend decades educating the marketplace why this is truly something that is strategic.
Yeah.
It's not just a theme line or a tagline.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. So many things that you said, I want to unpack them a little bit, but I want to start with something very simple, which is that purpose on a personal level. And I think you kind of got into this a little bit, that we can have, you and me, for example, you, Carol, me, Bhavesh, and listeners, and every one of us can ask this question to themselves, right? What is my why? What is my purpose? So the question I have for you, Carol, is this purpose something that we come hardwired with when we're born, more or less? Or do we create it on a personal level?
I think you discover it.
Oh.
So instead of create it, I think there's an intentionality when you ask, because you went to a really great place, which is there's personal purpose.
Right.
Then there's organizational and brand purpose.
Right.
And when the two come together, when you find your personal purpose, I mean, my personal purpose is to help organizations and individuals, and we're leaning into people now, find their purpose.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know why, but that's why I was put on this earth.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I'd love to tell a story about Unilever
Right.
because I would say the GOAT, the greatest of all time purpose people in the world is Paul Pullman. And Paul Pullman, he's Dutch. He grew up very simply. He ultimately was at P&G, and he ultimately ended up at as a first CEO job at Unilever, and was right during the financial crisis. So it was
Right.
2008, 2009. And he really wanted to find a way to get that company out of the doldrums. I mean, they sold, Life by soap and Dove cleansing cream and Vaseline and things like that.
Right.
Um, and he took his senior team, I think it was about 200 people,
Yeah.
and they went in offsites, and they truly worked with a leader, a coach, to figure out what was their personal purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And then he began to ignite that
Yeah.
to help the company truly transform. And then they all came together and say, now, what is Unilever's purpose?
Right.
And often to find an organization's purpose or your personal purpose, you go back to the beginning. And Lord Lever was in London, and it was during the plague, I guess it was at the time.
Right.
And they had Lifebuoy soap.
Yeah.
And if you washed your hands with Lifebuoy soap, you could disinfect them.
Yeah.
And that was like the first product that had a reason, not just making 5 cents or 10 cents for the product, but that the product could truly save lives.
Mm-hmm.
So they went back to the beginning of what Unilever stood for,
Yeah.
and they came up with their purpose, which is making sustainable living commonplace.
Mm. Right.
And it truly transformed the company. Paul was there for 10 years.
Yeah.
He brought a almost 300% return to his investors.
Yeah.
His employees were when I gave all my speeches, and I was very fortunate, I got to work on some of their brands when I was at Edelman.
Right.
And I got to work on Dove and Vaseline and such. And, Vaseline Dove is about real beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Vaseline is like the healing project.
Right.
Lifebuoy soap, there's an initiative called Alive by 5 that they save 5 million underrepresented, underserved in developing market children to survive by the age of 5 because they wash their hands.
Mm.
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not all their brands, they had like 400 brands, but the
All right.
30-ish brands that found their purpose, they grew 69% faster than the standard brands at Unilever and 75% of the profit.
Ah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
when you truly, and this finding a purpose is collaborative,
Mm-hmm.
and living it authentically
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely critical, because it's not just a tagline. A lot of companies have taglines, but they don't live it through their values and behaviors.
Absolutely.
And that's when you understand the soul of the company.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you say, this is where we're striving for.
Right.
Airbnb belong.
Yeah.
We worked with the Kerry Group, which is a food ingredients company. It's the largest in the world.
Yeah.
And they had a new young CEO.
Yeah.
And he basically said, I want to find our purpose. They're in over 110 countries. They're in 75% of all the food you eat has a Kerry ingredient.
Right.
And we went around the globe. We went to 10 different countries. And I personally interviewed on the phone 200 of his top senior leaders.
Yeah.
And listened to them and asked them the question. And ultimately, together, we created their purpose.
Right.
Inspiring food, period, nourishing life.
Inspiring food, nourishing life.
Because they wanted that food wasn't just about an ingredient. And of course, the way they come up with new ingredients, and then they work with their partners around the globe, thousands of different manufacturers.
Yeah.
But they then also want food to nourish your life, to stimulate you, to make you feel healthy. And then also to work with sustainable sourcing for the ingredients, for example, vanilla. And how do you get it from a country where you don't have child labor?
Yeah.
So fascinating that you find your soul.
Yeah.
And I have now a cat on my desk. Sorry.
That's all right. Bring her on or bring him on.
No, well, Max, stay over there. And they are just living it. And it's so exciting. One of the things that they did when they discovered their purpose,
Yeah.
they wanted to use it as a lens to define their business.
All right.
So they had a food business. They had crackers and candies and things like that. And they said, no, this is not about inspiring food, nourishing life. And they divested that business.
Right.
And so when you really understand your purpose and then you live it, it helps you to make your business decisions, your employee decisions,
100%.
your community decisions.
Yeah. It has like a sort of like a ripple effect throughout your organization.
It does.
And I want to stay with this, something that we talked about a little bit towards the beginning, which is the discovery process. I was going to call it creation.
Right.
Discovery process. So the idea that you discover your purpose. So on a personal level, you discover it. And then as an organization, you come together with a collective purpose. So the idea is that, you get together and you sort of trying to figure out or discover what your collective purpose is. And you said something that caught my attention. You said that you have a purpose statement and you said that I don't know why, but I just feel that it's the right thing. Now, I want to stay with this because this is so important, because it feels like or seems like when we talk about it, it may be like an abstract idea, but it is very real and it's felt. And for whatever reason, as humans, we're in a place where we kind of are not in touch with this, our heart.
Right.
And because of that, we think that it's like a fleeting thing that comes and goes. It might be just like an emotional something that came up and then, it goes away. So my question to you, Carolyn, you lead all of these people, the executives and, the sessions and you do, I'm assuming that you get together in a group and you lead sessions, you lead discussions,
right,
where you help them come in touch with this, right? In my case, by the way, when I'm on purpose, I get goosebumps. All the time. And it happens in these kinds of conversations, right? And that tells me that I'm on the right track, right?
Right track, right.
So what is it that you do? What's your magic to get or help these folks get in touch with their purpose?
Great question. We have a process. So in the first 10 years I was doing this, we would do an original custom conversations and really understanding the history and such. And I finally said, well, we do kind of ask, there's different buckets of things that we ask.
Right.
And so we now have something that we call P3, and it stands for precision purpose programming. Say it fast 3 times, it'll be hard. But we go through again the discovery. So what is their history? Mm-hmm. What are their products? What are their services? What are their values? Mm-hmm. What are their behaviors? Who's the competition?
Yeah.
How are we innovating?
Yeah.
And we also, there's a very important thing that we do, which is that we create, because if you don't interview enough people in the organization, what happens is the loudest voice in the room wins. That's not good. That is absolutely not the right thing to do for discovering an authentic purpose. So by going through these questions and we ask, it's the C-suite, but it's also who's in manufacturing, who's selling to the customers. Are you getting RFPs, requests for proposals to sell to someone that says, what is your purpose? How are you engaging in society? More and more and more and more that is being asked. Yeah. And that companies need to have an authentic answer to that.
Absolutely.
So the process, and so one of the things we also do is we ask about ambition. Do you really have a huge ambition, which Unilever had? Mm-hmm. Or do you have one? No, I really want to stay in my community. I want to just help the state of Maryland. We're working with a company in Maryland. And so ambition, understanding the ambition is really important. Yeah. How fast you want to get there, how much innovation you want to bring to this. Mm-hmm. And every company is different.
Yeah.
That's why it's so exciting to do the work.
Right. Right.
But we also, we're all very senior. I have a very flat firm that we don't do a lot at once
Yeah.
because it takes a lot out of you
Right.
because you are investing, they're investing in you, you're investing in them because it's something that needs to last. Ideally, this isn't like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years,
Hmm.
something that is built to last.
Yeah.
So that's part of the process. And we also have criteria, which you talked about how big, how small, how fast, et cetera. Also, what sort of budget do you want to invest in doing this?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Right. So that is fascinating that you can actually, I think I found, I have a purpose statement, and it took me a while to figure that out. It was one of the things, and I was doing a lot of exercises, and I was writing down lots of ideas, and I did that for a couple of weeks, and then it was early in the morning around 4 a.m. I woke up and it was there,
It was
and I wrote
there.
it down on a piece of paper,
Oh,
right?
glad you
With,
had the paper.
yeah.
Right.
And which is the purpose of my life. And this was something like 20, maybe 30 years ago. I don't even remember, but it was the purpose of my life is to figure out how to be happy and successful. Not
Uh-huh.
just to be happy and successful, how to be happy and successful, and figure out the resources that I discover along the way to help others do the same with their lives.
Great.
So,
Great.
and that's my purpose. And I get goosebumps every time I say, and
That's
it is
wonderful.
happening right now. So it's like it's like a radar
Mhm.
type of thing, right? It's like a
Your North, we always talk about purpose as a
it's
North.
North Star.
It's a compass. We always use a compass a
Com-
lot
yeah,
in our decks in terms of our
y-
pictures, and
exactly.
it's helping you to find a path. What's fascinating today is young people are
Yeah,
really, really worried
yeah,
about their future.
right,
And
right,
for every reason, for what's happening with wars, what's
right.
happening with drugs, what's
Yeah,
happening with, you look at your phone and my life isn't as beautiful as that life, which
yeah,
creates a huge, I think it's wonderful that young people today are saying, I'm putting down my phone and I'm going to go running or biking. I'm going to go I'm going to lie down in a park and read a book.
yeah, yeah,
That is a good thing
yeah.
because we've become so, dare I say, it's unreal,
Right.
in terms of who we are and what is really great. And I'm thrilled that one of the things I do in my company is that we have fellows. So we
Yeah.
bring in young people and
Right.
we pay them and they work on teams
Yeah.
and they learn about the kind of work and they go, you can have a job that impacts society,
Yeah.
that truly it helps to enhance the environment.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed because I've given so many speeches over the years that I thought that young people would know about this thing called purpose
Yeah.
and the purpose career. They don't. But I was very proud that there's a group called Net Impact.
Uh-huh.
And it's chapters in MBA schools around the country and
Right.
the world. And very early on, all the leaders of the coolest, hippest companies like Starbucks and Ben and Cherry's and
Uh-huh.
Unilever are on the board. So I said,
Yeah.
sign me up. I want to be on the board. And
Right.
I was on their board the longest of any one of their board members. I had to go off, come back 9 years though.
Uh-huh.
And we got to speak at their conferences.
Right.
And we got to, just work with as many young people as I can. I've worked with over 1,000 in my career.
Uh-huh.
Just to say there's a different way you can find your purpose and then you can apply it in your job.
Yeah.
It's very,
Right.
very
Yeah.
satisfying.
And that is so important that there is purpose that you find, and then you define it, and then you somehow activate that.
Mhm. Right.
Right. So these are different things. So we talked a little bit about how you help people find it. What do you think is the trick to, let's say, you wrote it down somehow and it hit the mark, right? What is a process, if there is a process, and what are some of the steps? What are some of the things that you need to do to really bring it out into the world? Express it, live it, activate it, either personally or as an organization.
Well, I would say if you are fortunate enough, and there's a number of great purpose books out there. There's a wonderful friend of mine, Akhtar Badshah, who was at Microsoft for years, and he wrote a great personal purpose book.
Right.
but there's more of those coming out.
Uh-huh.
And so finding what really makes you happy, what makes you
Ah,
satisfied. I
yeah.
mean, do you love words? And
Yeah.
I think people they don't write anymore. I love writing. I
Mm-hmm.
love great language.
Yeah.
And so finding something like that
Yeah.
and then trying to find a job. This is the unlock.
Right. Yeah.
That no, okay, so if you love to write,
Yeah.
become
Yes.
a copywriter. But
Yeah.
become a copywriter for a company that stands for something
Right. Right.
versus you're just writing, no offense,
Yeah.
ads or taglines or things like that, but you're writing the backstory of, let's see, well, Ben and Jerry's has wonderful, wonderful stories because they're real and how they create their different ice cream flavors
Yeah.
around real life relevant cultural situations.
Right.
One what was it? World is they do a World on Fire, which is kind of funny. They do all sorts of amazing
Uh,
things, but there's also your listeners probably don't know this. There's a thing called B Corps, and there are different types. They're for benefit corporations,
okay.
and they have to provide some of their profits back to society, and
Right.
they get There's scrupulous examination of
Uh-huh.
what you have to do to become a B Corp.
Uh,
And you might say, well, look at B Corps.
mm-hmm.
You want to become a copywriter at a company that wants to benefit society. Maybe you want to become a copywriter at a communications firm that
Yeah.
only represents environmental initiatives
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
things like
Right.
that. So looking at yourself,
Yeah.
also one of the other ways is that if you've got a good cohort of friends
Right.
and talking with each other and trying what do you really love to do in
Yeah.
your life?
Yeah.
Maybe you're a
Yeah.
cook.
Right.
Maybe you're an athlete.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe you love being with maybe you love your young person, Gen Z,
Right.
but you like going to retirement homes
Right.
with animals. You're going to bring the animals, the dogs, the cats, whatever, to
Yeah.
help the elderly feel inspired.
Yeah.
So, there's all these different I used to collect, I don't anymore, but I used to collect kaleidoscopes.
Oh, really?
I
That's
loved
interesting.
I don't know
Yeah.
why. But I just loved because it's like snowflakes, but it's hard to
Yeah.
see snowflakes. But
Yeah.
with kaleidoscopes, all the different configurations, they're
Yeah.
never the same.
Never the same. Right.
Exactly. So if you really look inward and talk to your friends and be curious. The other thing is that be curious.
Yeah.
Get out of this.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
out of the phone.
And this. Right. Yeah.
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 And, I also think that nature is really, really important.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of research about if you go out in nature, it's going to help you live longer.
Right.
And there's all sorts of ways to get involved in nature.
Yeah.
I love to garden. I love to do flower arrangements.
Right.
It's my creativity and then nature.
Yeah.
So calm down, slow down,
Yeah.
get with
Slow
your
down.
friends,
Yeah.
read some of the books.
Yeah.
Listen to some of the there's a lot of coaches out there, not a lot of coaches on purpose per se, but
Yeah.
finding your personal purpose if you can,
Yeah.
and then you can find a work that
Right.
really inspires you. You will be so happy,
Yeah.
so happy and satisfied.
Right. There's a quote that goes something like, when you do the work that you love to do, you don't have to work a day in your life. Right?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
right. And there's some power tips there. There's a ton of them that you shared, and we'll capture some of that in our show notes.
Great.
That's great. Switching the gears a little bit to the organizational purpose, and a very basic question I want to ask you. And you've been doing this a lot, and you've done 30 studies, and you've done so much in just on this idea of purpose. Whose responsibility do you think is it to define, lead, trailblaze the conversation around having a purpose
It's
in
the
an
C-
organization
It's
or
the
company?
CEO. I look back at the purpose work we have done. And we
Yeah.
work with the Kerry Group, we work with Campbell's, we
Yeah.
work with Quest Diagnostics, and we're working now, and I'll tell this story about this. We've the world's loveliest client, a guy named Mark Isaacson.
Uh-huh.
It was just, he found me. Most people know us for reputation. He just looked on the internet for companies that did purpose, and he found me. But
Right.
it's the CEO, because they are the leader.
Right.
They make sure that the company's values and behaviors, products and services, relationships with its employees, its customers, its
Right.
supply chain,
Yeah.
they have the ultimate responsibility.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the great thing about purpose is it can be any type of company. It can be a
Yeah.
B2B. It
Right.
can, and I'll give you a great example. There's a company that I had my podcast called Lineage Logistics.
Mm-hmm.
What do? They do cold storage for food.
Mm-hmm.
So think
Yeah.
giant warehouses.
Yeah.
So when the potatoes come out of the field,
Yeah.
they go in, they're there. Then they
Yeah.
get sent to manufacturers who use
Right.
the potatoes in their food.
Yeah.
Then the food goes back into cold storage and then goes to retailers.
Right.
It could be, it's a tough job.
Mm-hmm.
You're wearing, cold boots and gloves
Right.
and ski jackets and things like that. They have this fabulous CEO, Greg Lemhill, and
Mm-hmm.
he is purpose driven. And basically, he said, what they do, they feed the world. They don't do cold storage, and they are in the United States. I think they handle half or 2/3 of all the food in the United States go through their refrigerated,
Yeah.
storage facilities.
So
They
it's a
also
true
do
statement, really.
around the
Yeah.
Broadway.
Yeah.
It's and high, and you've got forklifts and this and that. He said, but what we do is we feed the world.
Right.
And then he's added to it, we eliminate food waste, and now they're working on energy consumption because there's a ton of energy consumed
Right.
in those refrigerated buildings.
Right.
During COVID, they knew that people were going to be really hungry and even starving.
Mhm.
So one of the things he did, and this is Greg and then his team, they created I think it was the 100 Million Meal Initiative. They invited all of their partners. They had thousands of food companies
Mm-hmm.
that could join in to donate this food to people during COVID. And he has wonderful on his website. They have like each value. They have an
Yeah.
employee talking about it. It
Right.
is so authentic. And his people are ecstatic when
Mm-hmm.
they get up in the morning and they put on all their clothing and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they go into that cold storage facility
Right.
and they deliver food throughout the entire supply chain. It's like,
Mhm.
it's cold storage. It's Lineage Logistics. If you're Ben and Jerry's, you were and I knew Ben Cohen, and I knew them because they're contemporaries of mine.
Yeah.
And, they're like rabble rousers. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to, we don't make ice cream. We change the world and we do it via selling our great ice cream flavors.
Right. Yeah.
So they're like Patagonia again, Yvon Chouinard,
Right.
who's right now, I had Unilever and then Patagonia is my two faves,
Yeah.
including our clients, of course. And Patagonia is, Yvon started, he was an outdoorsman, and he asked the question, how do I make crampons and when I'm climbing not to hurt the environment?
Ah.
And so he was very respectful of the environment.
Yeah.
And he wanted to leave behind, he didn't want to hurt anything. So he's like in his 80s now, I believe. And first of all, their purpose is, we are here to save our planet. We are here to save our home, our planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very clear.
Mhm.
They do a zillion things, whether it's, if you've seen some of the ads, which is old ones, your president is stealing your land. They had ads that said, don't buy this jacket. They do a lot of refurbishing of clothing.
Right.
So circularity.
Yeah.
But he did something because he lives and breathes his purpose because of his background. And as he's getting older, he knows that at some point he will pass. So he created 2 foundations to protect the company, to live in perpetuity, to fulfill its purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I love that.
so he takes money out. So
Yeah.
they take like $100 million a year to run the company. The rest
Yeah.
of it goes into the Purpose Foundation. It's one of them.
Yeah.
So the company will continue on its journey in perpetuity.
Mm.
Brilliant.
I love it.
Genius. Again,
Yeah.
you asked who does this, who runs this. I mean, Edmund Scanlon, who was, 40-ish years old, 43, I think, at Carey, he started out as a The Kerry group started out as farmers bringing their milk to a group, and then they would pasteurize their milk and send it out. And then they made curds and whey and things like that.
Yeah.
He was a farmer. He went to that company right out of school.
Right.
But he
Right.
was a farmer. And when he ultimately became, I think it was only the 4th CEO,
Yeah.
he just said, we need to do something that's more. We want to inspire food. We want to inspire our partners. We want to sustain, nourish life. So it's the C-suite. I've never, unfortunately, when someone in the middle of a company comes to us and says, we want to find our purpose, I go, I've never seen it work from the middle out.
Uh-huh.
You've
Yeah.
got to go to the C-suite.
Yeah.
You've got to go to the head of HR. You've got to go head of strategy,
Yeah.
the CEO, and here's Paul Pullman, and read Paul Pullman's book, Net Positive, the best book in the market. The best book in the market. Or
Sure.
Tomorrow's Capitalist by Alan Murray. And we have a book about not-for-profits and how do you partner with not-for-profits.
Sure.
But you've got to have it from the top because they've got to have the commitment.
Sure. Fascinating stories and fascinating examples. So, purpose, if I understand this correctly, there is, we talked about the head and the heart and the hands. And we also talked about, I think you alluded to the fact that it also is, quote unquote spiritual. Different people have different meanings to it, but it touches something in us that, the logic goes out the door and you can't not do it, right? There is even a physical response sometimes from our body that it's the right thing to do. So when a CEO, right, has this purpose, let's pretend the CEO gets it, right? How does that, so this process of coming together and creating a collective purpose statement, right? And you said, I think you gave some examples of folks getting together in the C-suite and basically talking about what the purpose is, and each one of them has it. And this, I'm assuming that it kind of aligns somewhere so that we, and then the whole process of the creation or the discovery of the purpose is also important, right?
It is. And we one of the things we do, which is really important, is, again, is employee surveys. And so we ask employees, especially, so if we can't go around the world and do workshops, which most companies aren't doing that these days, every company, we need to do a survey.
Yeah.
And we ask them about their interest in volunteering and what causes and issues are important to them.
Right.
We ask them words about the company and why are you proud of the company and how do you describe the company? So it's really critical to get every single level, as well as globally, if you're global, or if you're only, if you're Chesapeake Employers Insurance Company, which we work with, they have 400 people and they're in one building.
Yeah.
But their CEO, Mark Isaacson, again, and I want to tell his story at some point, came to me and he said, it's my first CEO job.
Yeah.
I want to create a company that is purposeful, purpose at the center, so we can inspire our people, that we can provide the best services and products because it's employee compensation.
Yeah.
So and every company has to have employee comp.
Right.
You don't want your employees to get hurt.
Exactly.
And if they get hurt, how were they served?
Right.
And it has been probably the most inspiring work I've ever done with a CEO, because in his heart, his heart is the largest heart I've ever seen in a CEO.
Right.
But he's got a fabulous intellect.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were we're now working on their values and behaviors, but he was deeply involved in all the key meetings and all the words and showed up. And then when he launched it, which is really important, launching it is really critical because your employees are going to be able to know how committed are you to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he took everyone off site.
Yeah.
They went to a university.
Yeah.
And, they had never done that before.
Yeah. Right.
And for a half day, everybody went there and they had big letters on the stage that said purpose.
Yeah.
And then, we started talking about it. We had beautiful video. We always create a video because video brings the
Right.
heart and the soul and the energy to life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was absolutely amazing. For Carrie did a wonderful, it's her first global meeting,
Mhm.
200 leaders in Killarney on this incredible lake.
Yeah.
And the CEO introduced it. Then we did the film, the video. Then I did a fireside chat with him and his employees. We had employees that were crying about, oh my God, this is the essence of who we are. Now I can connect why I am here with what we're going to be doing
Yeah.
and where we're going. It is so, when it's done authentically, and that's a big
Exactly. Yeah.
if. I have to
Yeah.
tell you that I've done 30 pieces of research over the years to show that this work is strategic. And
Yes.
pre-COVID,
Yeah.
we did something called the B2B purpose paradox. Like,
Right.
we wanted to ask B2B companies,
Yeah.
you have a purpose.
Right.
How did you create it?
Yeah.
How is it integrated? What are the key audiences to impact?
Right.
86%, this just in the US, but it was about 2,000 sample.
Yeah.
86% said, we have a purpose.
Uh-huh.
And then we asked other questions.
Right.
No, they didn't have a purpose. Only 24% really lived it.
Yeah. See
So
that?
there's
Yeah.
what's happened in the purpose field. There's it's like the shiny red object for an organization.
Yeah.
It has to be real. It has to be real.
And something else that I'm hearing is that not only is it the CEO's job or the top leader, whoever that may be, the founder or the president or wherever the buck stops, right? The chairman of the board, whoever is the final person, right? And normally, even today, I think we can accept this idea that there's always one leader. It's not like 3 leaders or 5 leaders. One leader where it ends, and that person needs to ride this. Not only is it that they're giving it a lip service. Or saying, yeah, I'm committed to it, but they are involved in not just in the creation of it, but also in the execution or the activation of that purpose.
You hit the nail on the head on that, because first you have this beautiful statement.
Right.
So, if it, and unfortunately, I can't give you Chesapeake because they're not allowing us to say it externally until they announce it to it's all buttoned up. But setting that aside, so Carrie, it has to be authentic.
Yeah.
But also you need to sell it in.
Yeah.
So that's why with Edmund Scanlon, we interviewed 200 of his leaders and then went to 10 workshops around the globe.
Yeah.
To get people on the factory floor, or people in Costa Rica, or people in India, or the UK or such, to truly get their buy-in.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, it is just an exercise, and it's greenwashing.
Yeah.
Inkwashing.
Yeah. So the process, it feels like to me, or it sounds like to me, is that it starts with the leader, and they go out and get input from the people. So there's a lot of input coming in. Right, and then it results in a beautiful statement. But then the work doesn't finish there. You still have to, and you use the term sell it. You still have to go and embed it back into the organization.
Right, and so a purpose comes to life via an organization's values and the behaviors.
Yes,
not just the values, because there's so many value statements that I think most of them are really bad. We're collaborative. We're innovative. First of all, every organization has values. And so if you go backwards and try and understand your purpose, then you need to revisit your values.
Yeah, right.
And so with Chesapeake, we actually had more workshops to describe their values. And those were really interesting because it was not, we started out with 10 and then we narrowed it down and then we narrowed it down again. And then we said, well, if those are your values, how do you behave?
Yeah.
How do you bring them to life?
Right.
Then how do you embed them into KPIs?
Yes.
How do you embed them into your relations with your supply chain?
Yeah.
Your communities?
Right.
So it is a living, breathing execution of your why, of what do you stand for.
Oh, I love it. It's the living, breathing execution of the why.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why Unilever was so successful under Paul,
Yeah.
because he took these. I mean, Dove. What was Dove? It's
Yeah.
like, and Dove truly stands for real beauty. And the
Yeah.
things that they have done over time, it gave them tremendous opportunities for very creative execution.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful execution. So it's like when you're Kerry, you're not just mixing up the newest vanilla flavor.
Uh-huh.
It's like, how is this going to inspire a chef in Singapore or in
Yeah.
Costa Rica to
Right.
make something that is new?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and then how am I going to, again, my supply chain, where I'm sourcing from,
Yeah.
how am I sourcing appropriately?
Right. Right.
So again, it is, and it's the CEO who has to keep it real,
Yeah.
but then
Yeah.
he has to embed it and weave it
Yeah.
throughout the organization. And that's, we've had a couple where it wasn't done quite as well as it could have been done.
Uh-huh.
And the unfortunate thing is that employees can smell a disingenuous leader
Yeah. Yeah.
very far. And today,
Right.
because of what's happening in our world, Morning Consult just got with some research today
Right.
about trust in leadership.
Yeah.
And it's like 50% trust CEOs and 50% don't.
Mm.
And
Those are
so
pretty
how do
bad
you grow
numbers.
a company if you don't trust the leadership?
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. So fascinating conversation, Carol. And do you have any? You've done all these studies. Is there any data or any research paper or any research that we can study or read that makes a direct connection between the purpose and the actual results that it brings?
You certainly had it from Unilever, and
Okay. Yeah.
everybody,
Sure.
here are the products, here's the return. And Unilever
Sure.
is very transparent. You have Deloitte that had,
Sure.
we started doing the research, nobody did the research.
Mm-hmm.
Now a lot of people do it's great because
Yeah.
to create a movement,
Yeah.
to validate
Sure.
purpose,
Yeah.
you need others like PwC or Deloitte or Accenture.
Right.
We used from Deloitte, they did a survey about the output and the impact of purpose. And they said companies that had purpose and they lived it had 3 times greater return, a 3 times greater return.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and I use it a lot.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate that we wrote 5 Harvard Business School cases.
Right.
And when you write a case about the purpose,
Yeah.
you have to show results.
Yeah.
So more and more companies are showing the results of purpose. But,
Sure.
you have to start out with a good product,
Yeah.
a good organization.
That's true.
Purpose isn't going to fix a huge problem.
Yes.
I always talk about the power of and. It's here's the business vision, the products and services, and here's how they impact society, humanity, and such.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you another example. This is IBM, and IBM, the kind of work they're doing. So then you do programmatic work.
Mm-hmm.
So IBM is looking to the world, and they focus on right now. One of their initiatives is upskilling.
Yeah.
And so a lot of companies are realizing people don't have to have an advanced degree to be a great programmer. Well, now they'll use AI, but there are many, many ways you can upskill people, and and then you change your recruiting practices. To bring people into the company. And so IBM very much, because of their capabilities and what they do, they want to align it with their business.
Mm-hmm.
So the execution today, we just did a piece of research following the last election.
Yeah.
And I was terrified. I asked the question to the American population, all different political parties.
Yeah.
Should companies invest in social impact at all? And we said, more or less, none. And I was terrified that my career was now over. And interestingly, 46% said companies should do more.
Yeah.
I was shocked. Now, 66% Dems, 49% independents, even 36% Republicans said companies should do more in terms of helping society.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Yeah.
we asked, well, what does it look like? The first thing they said is it must impact employees.
Yeah.
So employee impact, number one stakeholder. We then put different types of issues and causes in buckets.
Right. Yeah.
The number one that all of these citizens said that companies should invest in
Yeah.
and support by 20 basis points was health and well-being.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
Then the number one issue, which I keep asking people and they never can guess it, so I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And we've put in Project 2025.
Yeah.
So we put in all sorts of we did 23 different issues.
Right.
And we asked, again, all across all political parties. Number one agreement across all, mental health.
Hmm.
So the good news is I still have a job.
I want to really ask you this question. This is,
Sure.
and you're on that point right now. There is a book that I read some time ago. It was called The Pendulum.
Mhm.
And I forget the authors. We'll put this in the show notes. But the idea that was presented in that book, the big idea was that as a society, as humanity, we go like a pendulum between two extremes. And those two extremes are me and we.
Mhm.
Right. So me society and we society. And they actually propose that the time frame between those two swings is 22 years. So,
okay.
1945, we're coming out of the war, we're me-centered, right? 60s and 70s, we're we-centered, right? 80s, success and all that, right? Secret of My Success, all those movies. And so we are, again, me-centered. 2000s, we swing back to we-centeredness, right? Basically, everybody's saying collaboration and,
Right.
all of these things. And here we are, 2025. Do you think that we're swinging back to first of all, actually, I want to ask you if you've noticed some truth to this idea of society going back and forth. And are we at that junction point, based on the data that you've seen and the work that you've done, that we might be swinging back to me from the we?
That's I haven't heard that. But as a child of the 60s and 70s, I lived that.
Yeah.
But I've always lived in the purpose world, social issues, environmental issues.
Yeah.
It's tough because we have a leader who is omnipresent and is having a huge impact on the world.
Yeah.
I always believe in the pendulum swinging. So when you have too much about one person or really not attending to people who have less, also a planet, the planet is also a stakeholder.
Yeah.
It's not just employees. It's not just communities. It's not just supply chain. It's the planet.
Yeah.
In my recent, my 200th Purpose 360 podcast with Paul Pullman, he said we need two things. We need more trees and more people.
Yeah.
And I think that more people meant more humanity. And trees, because our climate is only so expendable.
Yeah.
And we are not doing very well with that at all.
Yeah.
So going back to the we, I also think that it's great to see young people getting out of their phones.
Right.
And realizing that and also mental health for young people is huge.
Yes.
So I would say that those sort of impacts are going to push people more towards we, and the we can be a cohort of mine.
Yeah.
It could be my grandparents. I love to see Gen Z and their grandparents sharing ideas, stories, etc. And then the planet.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're all going to get on a spaceship with Elon and go to Mars. We won't fit. So
I won't volunteer.
so I think the we. I mean, I've always been about the we because it's a company cannot be successful without having a healthy environment, a healthy community, healthy workers,
healthy workers, right?
You got to have the we there. And the companies that are the most successful can go back to Mars.
Yeah.
The world we want tomorrow is how we do business today. What a profound statement.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and you're right. And I love the statement by Paul Pullman where he says that we need trees and we need people. So, we through the industrial age, we have basically done this one thing where we've taken people out of business, or we basically pretend as if people aren't there, or we try to basically take all the human emotions out of our business. So business gets sanitized, where we try to make it this nice and cut and dry thing, where all this people stuff like emotions and desires and goals and aspirations don't interfere with the goal of the business,
Right.
which is to make money and make profit and grow and all those things. So, but we've kind of, this is my view. We've sanitized our management processes to make sure that, and AI is just kind of take it onto a turbo level, right? A new level. And I continue to abide by this idea that people, meaning the humanness, or whatever, however we define it, emotions and souls and, the hearts and or the minds, the people, all of that combined, what makes us full, unfragmented human beings. That's not going away. Right? If you all, like you said, if you all go to Mars, what's left behind here? You have 3 billionaires running the world, but who are they gonna run? Right. So who's gonna consume? Right? Who's gonna buy? Right? The products that he's selling. So I'm totally with you on that. Switching gears a little bit, Carol, you have a purpose statement. I think you shared it. Can you share it again? You have a purpose statement.
My purpose statement?
Yeah.
Well, my purpose is just to help all my colleagues find their purpose and live with their purpose, especially focusing on business.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that that's something that's been your North Pole, right? That's your guiding light. That's your lighthouse. Right?
I have been very fortunate because I grew up during the 60s and early 70s.
Yeah.
And also, it was Vietnam War, civil rights movement. I went to a very liberal university, Brandeis.
Yeah.
And so I was very fortunate because when I graduated, I had no idea what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I loved brands, but I also had this intuition
Yeah.
about companies could do something different.
Right.
Companies could stand for something different. And again, for 10 to 20 years, people thought I was nuts. And, I did the first piece of research in 1993.
Yeah.
And it was 2,000 in-home interviews with the Roper Starch, organization, asking people what they thought about business supporting a cause. We called it causes in those days.
Right.
And people were surprised that that was even an idea, but they leaned into it.
Yeah.
And so, I believe that this is the way of business going forward. The most successful businesses will understand their purpose, will be human.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to just be run by AI.
Right. Yes.
Even though AI is kind of fun.
Yeah. Fun. Yeah.
It is fun. So it's the humanity in business.
Yes.
That and it, again, Paul Polman's book, the subtitle, it's called Net Positive, and it's how courageous companies, so you have to be courageous to lean in, thrive by giving more than they take.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's why he's the GOAT.
And you just did your 200th episode number 200 was with Paul Polman, right?
I did. Yes.
And so we'll put the
link, and that would be great.
in the show notes. Our viewers, listeners, please check it out. Has there ever been a time in your life, and I think I like to ask this question because it's
going to be hard. I can't wait. Okay.
When you thought you were off purpose?
When I was off? That's a great thought. Was I off? Well, I don't.
What was it like?
Well, I mean, I do recreational things.
Yeah.
I do horses, I do cats, and I do gardening.
Yeah.
So that's not my purpose. That's something I love to do.
Yeah.
I would say that would be translated into representing a company that was a bad company.
Yeah.
Or a bad brand.
Yeah.
We, ever since the beginning, we would not represent tobacco. We would not represent firearms. We don't represent liquor. I think a little bit of beer. So the bad guys, we wouldn't represent somebody that was promoting opioids.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't do that.
Right.
But I made that a point very early on in terms of that was a principle of our organization.
Yeah. Sure. And Carol, something that I like to ask is, you went to university, and you said you were fortunate to have been. You were in liberal university. You said, I forget the name of the
Brandeis.
Okay, so you were a student then, and Carol today.
Mm-hmm.
What is different in you today because of the cause and the purpose that you've lived? How are you different
for me or for
you, Carol? Come.
Well, it's when I went to Brandeis, we took over buildings, we marched on Washington. I didn't burn any.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, basically about 50 years later, to see what's happened in terms of the takeovers and what's happening with anti-Semitism and Gaza and what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to see that go full circle.
Yeah.
Which is really, really interesting. So, it's, I mean, people should have an opportunity to voice their opinion.
Yeah.
But they should not do it in a harmful way.
Sure.
That is harming people or property or things like that.
Yeah. And let me put it the other way. Has your cause and purpose taken a different form, or has it changed in any way as you live through your career?
Well, I have to show you something, so hopefully I can.
Please do. Yes. Go get it. Yeah.
Okay. And I got to take off my ears. You asked if I've done some different things or different. And what I love is creating ideas. So.
Hello.
This is. Okay. This is my special Aflac duck. So. And you can see. Let's see. You see his.
I can see. Oh yeah, I can see. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So we were asked by Aflac. Aflac is a supplemental health insurance company, and everybody knows the Aflac duck. He's this giant duck. It's about $20 billion on the balance sheet, and he's very funny. And he's been around. He was created by the CEO Dan Amos, and they also donated over $150 million to pediatric cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But they were separate. And sometimes companies will do wonderful things in society, but they will not build it into their business. He's going to start doing this.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
Their
CMO, who we'd worked with before, she basically said to us, figure out a way to bring these two assets together.
Yeah.
And I knew a young man who made social robots for kids with diseases. And he had done one called Jerry the Bear. And so my superpower, that's the other thing you haven't asked about, which is, what is your superpower? I always ask this of young people.
Yeah.
They understand their superpower, they can utilize it. Mine is connection making.
Okay.
So in my mind, I took this idea of a social robot and Aflac.
Yeah.
And they smashed together. And I said to my friend, we're going to make this social robot for kids with cancer.
Yeah.
Now, it took over a year studying what kids go through. They go through about 1,000 days of treatments. Yeah. They are sick. They are, away from their homes, or they're really distressed. And then we created this, and they also designed it. They wanted a little neck.
Right.
And they wanted something that they could interact with.
Right.
And so we have emojis that the child can put on the chest, and when like the doctor or the nurse practitioner says, how do you feel? And the child's 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. They're they can communicate. Plus, he's got an app, and he does wonderful things. He purrs, he talks. Anyway, so
cute.
Aflac loved him, and the CEO, we showed it to him, said it's the best idea I've ever seen.
Yeah,
we built him and went to the Consumer Electronics Show and entered it with the cars and the refrigerators and the phones. He won Tech for a Better World. And there were 2 billion. They've donated 32,000 of these little guys in the United States. So anybody listening, if you know a child with pediatric cancer, you can order one for free. They will send them to you. They'll send them to hospitals. They're also in Japan, where Aflac has a huge business, and Ireland.
Yeah.
So you asked me, what have I done, or how did I evolve? I love huge ideas. that
Yeah.
and truly they come from the company's purpose, to help people with their supplemental health, but also to help their employees, their customers understand that they really stand for something very, very big. We also did something similar like this, another big idea with Whirlpool, because 5 billion with a B people around the globe do not have automatic washing machines. They don't have electricity. Women spend up to 20 hours hand washing with grueling, pain on their back and their joints and their hands to give their families, especially in underrepresented, underdeveloped countries, clean clothes, the dignity of clean clothes.
Yeah. That's
We
beautiful.
found a wonderful young man who had created a hand-cranked a washing machine, and the Whirlpool Foundation is now supporting that, the washing machine project, and they are building these, and they are then sending these around the globe. I love finding that core relational connection.
Right. Yeah.
And then being very creative, but being very real, getting the company to support it because they cost to do this.
Yeah.
But really making their reason for being, their purpose come to life. That is what truly makes me so excited.
100%. And it shows, Carol.
Thank you.
You're passionate about what you do, and it's so much fun to talk to you. So, is there anything, and you called me out on the superpower question, and you answered that. Is there anything that you wish we had talked about but we didn't? Anything that you wanna mention?
Well, I want everyone who's listening that's either an employee or an employer, that you can do work that truly involves your head, your hand, and your heart. There are more and more companies that recognize that they need to discover their purpose and activate their purpose and not their kitty cat. Maxie, come over here, please. So that there are more and more companies, or they create a company, the social entrepreneurs now, that are developing companies that truly can help kids with cancer. They can help with early detection of disease, things like that. So there are more and more purpose at the center companies being built. So you can find the intersection with your personal purpose and your work. It takes work to find them. And the other thing, which is just, it's what I always say to young people, in your 20s, trial different things, trial different industries. I see a lot of resumes now with 1.5 years, 2 years. Try not to change every 6 months, because then to an employer, it says you're never going to stick. But you can try in your 20s, early 30s, if you have a sense of your purpose. I want to give back to the world. I want to invent something. That's okay to follow. It's okay but you got to be, the other thing I always say to young people, you got to be a great student. You got to do your homework. You got to read the books. You got to listen to the podcasts. You've got to study up whoever you're interviewing with. So that when you go in there, the employer is going to go, wow, that's a really, really smart young person. I love working with our young teammates. They're just so exciting. And when we show them that they can have a purposeful career, it gives me a lot of satisfaction.
Yes, absolutely. And Carol, what's next for you?
What's next for me?
And who is the best person for you to reach out? You said what? I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
More inventions.
More inventions like that.
Or like the Whirlpool, like the washing machine project, the Whirlpool. And we're working with a number of healthcare companies. And there's opportunities there to look at their products. And then invent something around it, like we did with my special Aflac duck.
Awesome. And who is the best person for you to connect with at this point, and how do they get hold of you?
It's Carol. Just reach out to me. It's like Mark Isaacson. I got in our cold mailbox, not even my personal one. And thank God I'm curious, and I followed up with him, and we started conversing.
Yeah.
So it's Carol at Carol Cone on Purpose. Carol at CAROL, no
Yeah.
E. Carol
Yeah.
at Carol Cone on Purpose, one word,
Yeah.
.com.
.com.
And there you'll also find we have lots of blogs. We have all of our podcasts, so you can really get smart.
Awesome.
I just, a lot of people say I want to get into the field. I do give when I'm riding my bike at night to
Yeah.
sit in nature, and
Yeah.
I give interviews usually
Uh-huh.
around 7 p.m.
Okay.
So if people are listening, and go, I want to learn how to become purposeful.
Yeah.
I do that too.
Yeah.
But I respond to any inquiries, especially someone like Mark Isaacson
Yeah.
at Chesapeake, who said, I want to build a purposeful company. And he is the most wonderful, genuine, heartfelt guy, a CEO I think I've ever met.
Seems like it. And I'll check out that podcast episode. And Carol, thank you so much. This was a blast of a conversation. And I think very valuable. There's so much value in what you shared today.
I appreciate that. And I just appreciate you that, many people think that purpose is like, it's purpose washing. It's like a cute little tagline or
Right.
It's not a cute little duck.
Yeah.
This is the duck that helps children go through really, really hard times because it was developed from their need.
Sure.
And
yes.
so anybody, purpose is very powerful, but you got to live it and breathe it. So that's how I want to leave it to your listeners and your companies and your brands and such, and continue to do the great work that you're doing.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the kind words.
You're lovely. You have a lovely style.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that a little bit. One of the things, we have 5 minutes on the clock. And I'd like to get some feedback, and I'm especially interested in the conversation piece. I know we had some technical difficulties and things like that.
You're very conversational. It's good.
Good.
Yeah.
You've been on the other podcast. How is this conversation different? I like to kind of get a gist of that.
Well, okay. So I'm glad you're a good student. So, if you listen to, so you've got Michael Barbaro. I mean, I always listen to the New York Times.
Yeah.
I'm a New York Times fiend.
Right.
He does a big show, and he's got like a whole production team.
Right.
Then you have Pivot with Kara Swisher and Scott Galloway. They spend way too much time in the beginning talking about their sex life, their travel life, whatever.
Right.
It's like,
yeah.
But they really do have great commentary, and they know the technology field well.
Right.
So they're great. I would say, here's one thing I learned in my podcast, which is that my producer, Ann, said to me, I was always doing like an hour.
Right.
And I was told that people have a bandwidth for about a half an hour.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like the half an hour commute.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did in the beginning is I cut the show in half.
Yeah.
But Anne said to me, look, people are listening and so we changed it to like 30 minutes, maybe 35.
Yeah.
And we increased listenership a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something that I've been thinking about doing, basically cut it down to about half. For example, this episode, we can actually make 2 episodes out of it.
You could. Right.
But then you kind of lose that connection in between, right? So it's sort of and I've thought about this. And so I think what you're saying is cut it down to about half an hour.
Yeah. The other thing that I was doing audio. So we just started doing video. I hate looking at myself in video, but anyway,
you look great. You look great.
You're sweet.
And you're great on the camera. So
well, I'm energetic.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it for Paul, but actually, so here's what we did. Paul was like almost an hour.
Yeah.
And but we then did an audio cut down.
Right.
That was 35 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I listened to the 35 minutes, Ann's a very good editor.
Yeah.
And it was like the best podcast I've ever done.
Mm. Yeah.
But I adore Paul, and I've had him on, a couple times, and
yeah.
we have a rapport now because
right.
I saw him in person at an event, and so
yeah, absolutely.
So, but look, you're a lovely host, great personality.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I like your background; it works better than my chair thingy, and so I think that I just listen to other people's.
Yeah.